What is going on, guys? I'm back on the mic today from Spectral Sound, and welcome to this week's video. And in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I remade the D-Jahsta Freakshow Wobble bass. Now, I got a request a while ago for this sound, and it's a super sick, kind of old school dubstep wobbling sound. I'll give you a listen. This is the piece of the drop.
Freakshow.
So it's a super sick song, and you know immediately what sound I'm gonna make. It's this sound right here. That huge dubstep wobble. So this is my recreation along with the piece of the original track, so you can hear them side by side.
Freakshow.
There you go, there it is. Now before I get into this patch, I just want to go over the post-processing and EQ. That's all it is right here. I have a bit of some peaks down in the formant areas. This is at 203 hertz and it's just dropping down a bit. And also the same thing at 842 hertz. This just kind of sculpt the vowel a bit. That's how I use that. And some high-end EQing just to match the original track. Alright, so let's get right into this patch. Oh no. Hello. There we go, okay. Now, when I made this sound, the only thing I knew for sure was that I was going to use a bandpass filter. Other than that, I did not know much. I had to get in there and just play around, but I eventually found a sound that was extremely similar. So here we go. Let me turn everything off so I can start from the very beginning. Let's see. I'll just leave oscillator A on and let's turn off all the effects. Just got to remember that it ends with the reverb. Alright. So now we just have oscillator A doing absolutely nothing, except for outputting a saw wave. The level is at 75%, which is normal wavetable position. This is just what normally pops up. The FM is at 95%. We are going to be FMing from oscillator B. It is also down one octave. Other than that, you don't have to do anything with this. It's just a normal saw wave. Alright, there is a sine wave. It says basic shapes too. You don't have to worry about that. It's just go to basic shapes and open up a sine wave. The wavetable position all the way down. Alright, the level is all the way down because it's getting outputted through the FM of oscillator A. Yeah, it's down 2 octaves, so we get a really gritty sound now. Because the FM is so low, it gets this really deep grit sound. So there's no warps on this. So this is all super basic stuff that we got going right here. We got a sub down 2 octaves. This is just not a sine wave, but a sharper sine wave, so you get just a little extra harmonics. You can hear the difference between a normal sine wave. See, there's just that one frequency, and then right here. You can see it right there. If you don't have good speakers or headphones, then you might not be able to hear that, but you can definitely see it on the top. So that just adds a little bit of extra harmonic content to this sub. Alright, yeah, the level is modulating from 50 all the way up to 100, so it goes right all the way to the top, so we have a really heavy sub bass. I turn on the noise. Did I even use the noise? No, I didn't use the noise, did I? Okay, nope, never mind. No noise required. There's already going to be distortion on this, so there's going to be plenty of high frequency content. Alright, for the filter, we have a bandpass 12, which is a bandpass plus peak filter. So the cutoff of the bandpass itself is 22 hertz going up 39. So we have that sweeping motion. There we go. The resolution is also going up with the low frequency oscillator. It's at 10% going up 39%. The mix is all the way up. And now the frequency is not getting controlled. I was going to control the frequency of the notch filter to try, or the peak filter that is, to try to make a more yai vowel, but there wasn't a lot of yai vowel in this specific bass. It was a lot more of a wow, and the bandpass gave me that, so you can just don't mess with the frequency. You can turn it all the way down. The drive is also down to normal, and the mix is all the way up. Only oscillator A is going through it. If anything else went through it, it would either do nothing, or the sub would be messed up. So let's go into the effects. I have an EQ on here, and that's, again, just kind of sculpting the vowel a bit. I have the frequency. There's two peaks that I have going right here. The frequency is at 108 hertz going up 19, so we're getting some low frequency sweeping action there. The gain is going from 3.4 decibels up 16. So then we get more peak up at the top and less peak down at the bottom, so it doesn't get too muddy. The Q factor is just at like 50. You don't have to mess with that. The frequency of this peak filter is 3,500 hertz going down -11. The Q factor is also at around 50, so you'll be good with that. And this time, when it's at the very top, it's actually going down slightly. It's at -2.9 decibels, and then the low frequency oscillator pumps it up by 19. That way we don't get any peak at the top range. We actually get a little bit of a dip, so we're not getting too screechy and piercing at the very top. This isn't a screechy bass, but we are getting a peak at the top or at the bottom here in the mid range to get a little bit more modulation. There you go. You can see it happening right there. Alright, a compressor, multi-band compressor. The threshold is at -14.2. I believe the ratio is 4:1. Yeah. The attack and release, you don't have to mess with that. And the gain is also at 0. Mixes all the way up. You can see where I have my bands here. There is no percentile I could actually show you. But you see what I got going here. This is just kind of ducking down the mids and really boosting the highs and lows to give it this really thick sound. Yeah, there we go. That sounds good. Alright. Disto. We have a 0 square right here, which I like barely ever use a 0 square, but it works really, it has a weird algorithm, but it works really well for this sound. The drive is at 0 going up 47. The mix is also at 0 going up 100, so there's a lot of modulation happening right here to really form the sound. There, you can see it's heavily distorted and it sounds really crunchy. Alright, for the phaser, the rate is all the way down and the depth is all the way down. I have the frequency at 187 hertz, and I'm not modulating it here. I'm not modulating the frequency up or down like I usually do. This is just to add some more dips in the spectrum around the formant areas to kind of, you know, again, to also kind of sculpt the vowel. There's a lot of sculpting involved here to really get that signature deep sort of sound. The mix is going from 0 all the way up to 68, and this is what it sounds like. So there's not a ton of difference. It just adds those peaks in there and kind of, it just helps to fill it out. Alright, the hyperdimension. I believe I did not touch any of these. I never really do. The mix of the hyper is at 28%. The size is all the way down for the dimension. And the mix is going from 0 up 39. So even more modulation. There, that makes a big wide sound. That sounds really good. Alright. Now for the chorus, to get an even wider sound. I have the rate at 0.01 hertz. Oh, dang, I messed it up. Okay, we're good. The delay 1 is at 0.0. Delay 2 is at 0.3. So really tight delays. This is all really a really short chorus. It doesn't have a big tail. The depth is at 20 milliseconds, so it's a big wide sound. Feedback is very low at 10%, and I moved it. There we go. And the low pass filter is all the way up, giving you the full range of the spectrum. The mix is at 0 going up 30 with LFO1 once again. There we go. That just adds more width and more stereo feel to it, making it a thicker sound. For the filter, I have a reverb filter on this. And reverb, you can get some really cool stuff out of the reverb filter. It's a really interesting filter. It's at 47% or 47 hertz for the cutoff. The resolution is all the way down. If you turn the resolution up, it gets really screechy and you get this delay that can be cool in some sounds. However, I did not want it for this sound. So the resolution is all the way down. The drive is at 12%, and this didn't control anything. Okay. And the pan is also at 0. If you change the pan a bit, you can get a very stereo effect because the reverb filter is such an intricate filter. What the pan does is it slightly, if I turn it up a bit, it changes the cutoff slightly for the right and left ears. So you can get a really stereo wide sound with filters such as the reverb filter when you use this pan. However, I already have a lot of dimension from the hyper dimension and from the chorus, so I didn't need any more dimension in this specific sound. So I just left the pan in the middle where it was right there. The mix is going from 0% up 29, so again, we're just getting none down there, and then up we get 29% at the top. So just a slight mix in with the reverb filter. This is without it. And this is with it. So there's not a ton of difference. It's just tweaking and fine tuning. And now for the reverb. I have a hall reverb on this one. The size is at 27% and the decay is at 3.8 seconds. The low cut is at 21%, so just kind of cutting the low frequencies. Not all of them, because it is a very low frequency, really thick sound. So we can have some of the mid-low frequencies in the reverb. We just didn't want to reverb any of the bass, because that'd be weird. The high cut is at 35%. This isn't too bright of a sound, honestly, so we didn't want a huge reverb tail with the high end. The spin is at 25% and the spin depth is at 20%. Now this is modulating with LFO1, 30 going up 30. Wait a minute. 6. Okay, there we go. 6% going up 30 with LFO1. That was confusing for a minute there. Alright, and that's all we have for the effects right here, and this is the sound we got. There we go. It's a nice thick sound, and that sounds like this is the original sound. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Leave a like if you did. Also drop a sub if you haven't already. And I also want to mention before I end this video to my subscribers, I have my sound designer list right here. And I've been getting a lot of requests for sound design things for me to make, and I can't get to all of them quickly. I'm going to be trying to do more videos over my winter break, but I can only go as fast as I can. So if you see the sound that you requested on this list, know that I'm not putting it off. I have to get to the others. I do have a lineup. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, peace out.